Hello, 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 everyone. Thanks, Dee. Hello, Monet.
Hello, Buzz.
Okay, this is the second half. This is Penguin Random House, second half of 2025. My name is Vers Chetty. The gentleman on the top right corner of my screen, and I don't know where he sits on yours, is Monet Bam. And we've got a guest presenter as well. You'll see Sonia there as well. She will be doing a couple titles too. I just want to say thank you to everyone for the first half of 2025. We had a good couple of months there. We had some good titles come out in the first 6 months. But as you all know, the second part of the year is always where the real stars shine. Not that the first half we didn't have stars. We had lovely stuff there. But yeah, thank you for coming. I hope you all are warm and you have something warm to drink, or maybe something warmer to drink, if you know what I'm saying. Because we're going to take you through some of the best stuff we have for the second half. And boy, we presented this now before a couple of days ago, and it was such a great response from the rest of the country. And I hope you feel the same way as well. Okay, with that, we've also got some guest speakers as well, guest authors that we have. We always bring someone into our event as well. The first author, we did a book with her in 2023. The book was called Thrive, Nikki Robertson, and that was a fantastic book. It really showed you that you could have a whole new relationship with food, no matter what your goal is in terms of your health and fitness and your well-being. And I didn't think she could outdo that, but it seems um, she has beat me to that. I think this book is fantastic. So welcome to Nikki Robertson. Thank you for taking some time off your schedule to be here and for the event the other night as well. You were truly wonderful. So I would like for you to tell the people in the room about your new book, yourself, and whatever else you want to tell them. So the floor is yours, Nikki. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So yes, my name is Nikki Robertson, and I'm the author of Mind, Body, and Soul Food. And from the start, my relationship with food was destined to be interesting because my father's parents were Eastern Europeans. They were refugees who were shipped to Africa before World War II to avoid conscription. And they landed here not speaking a word of English, but they could bake. And they created a business that would eventually become one of the biggest bakeries in the country. By contrast, maybe not contrast, my mother's family were from France, so they're also European, and food was also central to their lives, as you can imagine. But my mom had an eating disorder. She was a ballerina, and she had body dysmorphia. And growing up in the age of Cosmopolitan and Cindy Crawford, I adopted the same eating disorder as my mother and the same dysregulated relationship with food. So my dad was a feeder and my mom was the person hiding the food, and it was interesting. And I started dieting very young in my life, but I always knew that dieting was never the answer. And in I think it was mid 2000s, I'd owned an ad agency up until that point, and I was slowly burning out. And I decided that I wanted to go and study dietetics and clinical nutrition. And over a period of 12 weeks of having to unlearn everything that I thought I knew about healthy eating, I managed to lose 30 kilos of fat, and I put on 5 kilos of muscle. And of course, people began to ask, what pill are you taking? What diet are you on? And honestly, for the first time in my life, I could tell them I wasn't dieting and I wasn't exercising myself to bits. And nobody believed me. And eventually it became, this is the formula that I developed into my business today called Reinvent Health. And I consult to private individuals and to companies. But then in 2023, my first book, Thrive, was published by Penguin. And as all good stories go, something woke me up at 3 a.m. on the 15th of February 2024, and that was Mind, Body, and Soul Food. And the idea arrived completely fully formed, like it had been waiting the whole time. And that's what it has turned out to be now. So what, in my opinion, makes Mind, Body, and Soul Food different, and why I believe it'll actually outsell Thrive, is that it contains all the core ingredients of the first book and all the principles and all the secrets to why diets don't work. But it digs deeper into the mind and soul aspects of eating. And it speaks to the growing movement towards intuitive eating, mindful eating, emotional well-being, and conscious consumption, which is it's a massive issue at the moment. And these themes are very much part of the cultural conversation, which is why I think it differentiates itself from other recipe type books out there or therapy type books, because it speaks to something that's happening now, and it also debunks a lot of the confusion that's happening on social media, because a lot of what we're seeing in the media is absolute nonsense. We know this, but we don't know where to turn, and that's what this book really does, is it gives people a good guideline. But it goes beyond healthy eating and appeals to the foodie market as well, which I think is really, really important. I don't think it's really healthy to niche yourself too far. And it asks us to think about where our food comes from, and the hands that went into harvesting the food that we eat, the conditions in which it was raised, the energy it carries into our bodies. And this is something that resonates very strongly for me. This is where the soul component comes in. So that energy that our food actually embodies becomes part of us, and it's something we should really be thinking about. And food is pleasure. It's nurturing. It's a way of grounding ourselves, and we have to honor that. It's about using food to calm your mind, to sharpen your brain, to connect deeply with people around us, to the world around us. And when we eat in this way, intentionally and joyfully and with respect to ourselves, we become healthier. We don't need a diet. We don't need to worry about whether we're doing a paleo diet or a keto diet or a Banting diet or whatever. We just learn to nurture ourselves with food. And that was really the most important message that I wanted to get through in Mind, Body, and Soul Food. We lose the obsession with the scale, something I work with people all the time who are obsessed with the numbers on the scale, and it really doesn't matter. When you become healthy, your entire body becomes healthy. And this is something we should be learning to do. And we become kinder to ourselves, we become nicer people to be around. And I think we've lost a lot of that. And what COVID did show us was how isolated we were. And I think even without COVID, we would have gone down this dark hole of becoming more and more isolated. And food, especially in this country, culturally, it is meant to pull people together. And if we can do so a little bit healthier, a little bit better for ourselves and for the planet, I think we're going to all do ourselves a service. So Mind, Body, and Soul Food is what I hope to be a conversation starter disguised as a cookbook. And it bridges the gap between wellness and enjoyment, and it bridges the gap between evidence and intuition. I think that's the best way to describe it. And it's the kind of book people will buy for themselves. They'll buy it for their therapist, they'll buy it for their mom, they'll buy it for their best friend. So if you're looking for a book that speaks to where the world is heading, nutritionally, and away from all the drama, and towards sustainability and simplicity and calming the noise around us, this is the book that's going to do it. It's my mission to start a new kind of conversation about food. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Nikki. That was amazing. I agree. You know, what you put in is what you get out, and your book is certainly going to show people how to do that. And that's just amazing. And also, it's one of the most beautiful books I've seen. It's such a stunning visually. It's such a beautiful book as well. You know,
photography is
Yeah.
it's just blows my mind. It's just they are so talented. The team that did the photography, they're amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, they are. I agree. They are. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for telling us about your book. And I hope that all you guys in the room, please support Nikki and support the book. It's a really, really an amazing piece of work that we've got here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, folks. I didn't say this up top, but I'm going to say this now. You are our prisoner here for the next 2 hours, and your sentence will be you get to listen to some of the best stuff that we have out there. But if you stick with us, you're going to see that we have the best of the best for the second half of the year. So I've got another great author for you. She floored everyone at the media event that we had in Cape Town. Her story is truly, truly an amazing one. She's truly an amazing person, and we're so proud to publish this book, and so proud that we have this book. It's such a beautiful jacket as well. When I look at it now, I just love it. So Popina's lived quite a life, and she's put it into this book, and it's such a great read. If you pick it up, I mean, this book, everyone should read this book, just simply for the fact that it will make you appreciate your own life so much more. And I'm so glad that she's here. So, Popina, can we see your face? There she is. Hello. Okay, so welcome, Popina. Welcome. Everyone's here in the room. They're waiting for you to tell them about your new book. It's out in stores, so they've probably seen it on the shelves. But just welcome here, and thank you so much for making the time, really. And the floor is yours. You can talk about your book.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. My name is Popina Kumanda, and we often think of history as something that took place 20 or 50 years ago, distant and removed. But in truth, history is being made in this very moment as we gather here tonight, virtually united. What Penguin does so brilliantly is capture the present, our stories, our realities, and preserve them. So, not just with ink and paper, but with the intention, with a quiet rebellion of sort, with a bold yet subtle power that echoes far beyond the page. My name is Popina Kumanda, and I am the author of The Smallest Ones. Toe ek klein was, het ek gedink die wêreld begin en eindig in my dorpie. As dit in my dorpie gereën het, het ek gedink dit reën in die hele wêreld. 'n Plek wat ek huis genoem het, my dorpie vol liefde, 'n veilige plek. Ek is in die Democratic Republic van die Kongo gebore. Toe ek 5 jaar oud was, as ek deur rebelle ontvoer, my suster was 21, saam met my gaan aangeneem. Vir 5 jaar het ek ondraglike dinge deurgemaak, verkrachting, marteling en hongersnood in die hande van die gewapende groepe wat steeds hele streek van die DRC onstabiel maak. Who would say and confirm if you're speaking English? Maar dit is nie net my storie nie. Dit is die storie van duisende vroue en kinders regoor die Kongo, stilgemaak, vergeet en tog steeds staande. In the DRC, approximately 35 children under the age of 5 die every hour. They die from malnutrition, diarrhea, poverty. These are not accidents of nature. They are not the direct result of conflict. They are the direct result of conflict, neglect, and global silence. At the same time, 46 women are raped every hour. Hierdie is nie iets wat dit is iets wat gebeur elke dag en op hierdie oomblik soos ons hier praat en gesels, daar is kinders wat doodgaan en vrouens wat, they are being raped. Now imagine this. Amid those dark, violent hours, one child, one adult woman managed to escape. Geen skoene nie, no shoes, geen kos nie, no food, no map, and just the jungle and the stars. That child was me. Daardie kind was ek, en die vrou was my grootsuster. We walked from Congo to South Africa, navigating through the terrain most wouldn't survive. What led us wasn't a path, but a prayer. What saved us wasn't certainty, but the sheer of hope. There was no safety, just survival. We crossed rivers barefoot. We slept under trees, walked for days without food. Every decision was a risk, every stranger a risk, but we kept on moving. When we finally arrived to South Africa, ek kon nie lees of skryf nie en ek was nooit by die skool nie. So dit was my eerste keer waarin ek begin skool en begin leer skryf en verstaan wat aangaan in die wêreld. En ja, ek het eintlik besef dit is net nie ons nie wat in die wêreld is nie. Die wêreld was 'n baie groot plek. So, all I knew about education came from my sister as we walked from DRC to South Africa. She implanted a seed inside my mind, inside my soul, that education is the key. Once you are educated, especially as a Black woman, the world opens up. The systematic environment becomes more clear, and you also gain identity. You gain back your identity and, the magical inside of your soul. So as we walked, she would describe classrooms. She would describe books, the wonders of reading and writing. She would describe chalkboards and teachers. She told me education was the key. That dream became my light, and all her stories became my dream. This book isn't just a story, it's a message rooted in humanity. Xa sijonga siyayazi ba umntu ngabantu and ngumntu. Masimanyane sibe nobulele sebalane. kuba ubuntu bubomi. And Mnandi Mahadebe, eventually I got a client name called Mahadebe in the Xhosa community. This book asks us, questions, and that is what I love about Penguin. It silently asks you questions as you read. What if the children of DRC were given, peace instead of guns? What if they were given homes instead of hiding places? And what if they were given love instead of loss? Imagine the amount of potential the world would witness, the brilliance, the creativity, and the leadership. If a child that came out from a village in the Democratic Republic of Congo could stand right in front of you today, she had no schooling, she had no sense of a voice, and had no idea what freedom is. What more if we could all come together and imagine the possibility of millions of children, not just in the DRC, but in Gaza, Israel, Palestine, be given a chance that is so overlooked every day, a chance to be around your mother and father, a chance to be in a safe, peace country. Imagine how that world would be. So that is the story of the smallest ones. That is the message that Penguin gave me to, gave me an opportunity to portray and give to this world. Thank you very much.
You floored us once again, Popina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and it's really an honor to publish your story. It really is. And if all the people that are in this room just pick it up, read it, and spread it around, it's a message that Popina takes very seriously. And her story is a really important one, guys. It's really important that people know her story and read this book. So thank you for supporting it. And Popina, thank you for writing it. It takes a lot of courage to do that. Just, writing anything is, but your story particularly is amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Viz, can I add one
Jesse.
thing, maybe?
Thank
Please,
you.
please, Mona, yeah.
I've been doing the media presentation, I think about 6 or 7 years. Tuesday night in Cape Town was the first time an author ever, and all our authors are brilliant presenters. You would have seen everyone. It was the first time an author got a standing ovation, a spontaneous standing ovation with no reservations. That was
Absolutely.
That should tell you all you need to know.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank the inspiration that came behind it, because when I came to South Africa, I knew for sure my purpose was to bring voice to my friends that died, the people from my village, and just women and children in general that are still going through such horror, just globally itself. And there are so many women, even in this platform right now, that are suffering in silence that we would never know about. So being given this chance from Penguin and to present this, it's definitely a dream come true that I thought would never be possible, but here I am.
Well done, really. Wow, that's amazing. We're so glad to have you, and keep writing. We want to see what else you write,
There's something coming up soon.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good news, guys. Thank you, Poppy. Okay, guys, off to a good start. Here we go. The secret is out, guys. Well, on the 9th physically, but you all know about it now. Okay, Dan Brown is back after 9 years. It's been almost 9 years that he's last published. His book in 2017 was the #1 title of that year, the #1. We sold so many copies of that book. We just couldn't keep up. It was a beautiful production. And this is no less. We've done everything in terms of our team here at Penguin, from the marketing guys to our sales team. We've done everything that we possibly could to make sure that this book is read by everyone and anyone. He's the kind of author that, for someone who reads one book a year, or maybe hasn't read in a while, I know that's what happened to me. He's the kind of author that will come in and people will just buy it. You'll find your cousins or your friends messaging you saying, have you read this book? This is the kind of publication we have. I was joking the other day and I said this is the biggest book of 2025. And I meant that literally. It's literally the biggest book of 2025. It's nearly 700 pages long. It's a big, chunky book. And it sees the return of Robert Langdon in the series. Just to give you a bit of the outline, it's all really tight, so I can just give you a basic outline of the book, but it sounds good. From what I read, it sounds good. So Robert Langdon is in Prague. He's got a new partner, and she's a noetic scientist. And that sort of deals with the subject of consciousness. And she's there to present her findings. And she's got this revolutionary way of finding that she has, which is set to obviously upset the apple cart, so to speak. So he's there in Prague to support her. And during this whole thing going down, someone is murdered and she goes missing. He's obviously now on the case trying to find her, but at the same time, he's being tracked down by an unknown, very wicked assailant. And the story goes all the way from Prague to New York, London, all around. It's the typical Robert Langdon sort of fast-paced thriller. It's so exciting to have him back on this list, and we can't wait to see what happens with this one. I think it's really going to give the industry a bit of a jump start, which I think it needs right now. It's going to give us a bit of a jump start. And I think in September 9th, when the book is on shelf, it's all going to be Dan Brown.
Hello, South Africa. Richard Osman here. Elizabeth, Joyce, Ron, and Ibrahim are back. Great news. We begin at a wedding. Whose wedding? I couldn't possibly tell you. That is a trade secret. But Elizabeth is approached by a man in fear for his life and with a big secret to hide. It leads our gang on a madcap adventure to crack an uncrackable code and find an impossible fortune. I know what you're thinking. Are there murders? Yeah, of course there are murders. Will they solve them? I mean, they usually do, don't they? But you'll have to read it to find out.
Isn't he a great picture of books? Like, isn't he just amazing? The way he can pitch a book in like 30 seconds. I wish I could do that. Well, I'll try my best. Anyway,
we could
let's
take
talk
some
about Cozy
lessons.
Crime. So a lot of you on the call are book buyers, and you sit through monthly subs with all the publishers and all that stuff, and love all of it. But you would probably have seen that every third book you see on an adult sub, at least, people go, this is Cozy Crime. This is kind of like Cozy Crime. This is something that is like Cozy Crime. Now, the fact of the matter is, if you talk about Cozy Crime, there's really only one author that did that. It feels kind of like back in the day when Joe Nesbo and Stieg Larsson came out, and you had those stickers that said, if you like Stieg Larsson, you'll love this. And they put it on every single Scandi crime book around. With all due respect, in terms of Cozy Crime in this country, this guy is the reason Cozy Crime is having a resurgence. Richard Osman is a phenomenon. He always debuts at #1 in the UK. He debuts near #1 every time he gets here. And there's a reason for that. So what makes him different from all the other Cozy Crime buyers? From all the other Cozy Crime stories? It's the characters to me. His characters have a depth to them that he's able to do in one book. He's able to do in one book that most people aren't able to do in 10 books. His characters, Joyce, who is, I always say to Viz, she's the typical auntie. She's the typical Tannie. The first line in The Impossible Fortune says something like, I am so sorry that it has taken me so long to write to you. Just like a Tannie would, because it has been 2 years. Last year we solved murders. She's that kind of, she's trying to find her place in the Thursday Murder Club. Then there's Ibrahim, who's the smartest guy in every room, but he's very humble about it. He's kind of trying his kind of psychoanalysis with various people in the home. Ron, who I despised in the beginning. I thought he was a bit of a bully and a bouncer and that kind of guy. And I've grown to really fond of. And then there's Elizabeth, who, if you read book 4, went through one of the most heart-wrenching things that you saw coming in book 1, I guess. It finally happened in book 4. So those of you that know. Those of you that don't, read the books. And that is the difference. But what also makes Osmond brilliant is he takes all these things, where these characters are, and he ties that into the main plot, which is at Joyce's daughter's wedding. There's a best man who's a bit dodgy. He looks like he's all over the place. He disappears. He's clearly been kidnapped. Everyone thinks it's a pretty open and shut case. Thursday Murder Club will solve it in a bit, but it turns out that it's a lot more depth than that. There's a very sinister villain, like he said. There's an uncrackable code, like he said. There's a whole bunch of money, and a bit of it is Bitcoin. So the conversations around Bitcoin in this thing is just fantastic. But it's a really, really, really epic tale with a depth to it that you don't expect. My short pitch for these books are always, it's the best kind of mystery with the biggest heart. It fits perfectly on Christmas. It's a perfect Christmas read. It's a perfect beach read. You'll see a lot of people reading this. And if you haven't read this yourself, please speak to us or pass on some stuff. It's definitely worth your time.
Hey, this is Teboho Proverb Tekisho, author of the book of Proverb and now To Health With It. And as the title would suggest, I speak on the various health aspects, not just the physical, but also the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, social health. I speak about the occupational health as well, and I reference other scholars who've written extensively on the topics. And in this book, I reference my own personal life. Physical health as an example, where at my heaviest, I was weighing 100 kgs to now living a healthier lifestyle. Occupational health, where I was able to pivot from being just an entertainer to serving on boards, pursuing my master's degree, and eventually my doctorate. Spiritual health, where I was able to face my own traumas and redefine my own peace. And in the book, I also leave nuggets for where you can challenge yourself as well to address your own health holistically. A big thank you to Penguin Random House, who is my publisher, for not only helping me publish the book, but also helping me empower others in the process. To health with it.
Hello everyone, my name is Ntombi Ngabinde, the author of In the Late of Night. So think 4 women, 1 city, countless complications. This novel is based in the heart of Johannesburg, where we meet 4 30-something-year-old girlfriends who seem to have it all. Thriving careers, impeccable style, and also a beautiful friendship between them. But beneath the surface of success, each woman is quietly wrestling with the chaos of love, unmet expectations, and also what they feel is still missing in their lives. What inspired me to write this novel is obviously my own experiences with love and relationships, together with the experiences of my girlfriends. I'd like to thank each and every bookseller or bookstore that will stock my book, and also the media that is present today. Thank you.
Right. I am part of the cult of Bryson. I think there's probably about 3 of us on this call that I know about. If you are not part of the cult of Bryson, then the easiest pitch for this kind of general science, general info stuff that he does is, do you guys remember Chappies? Okay. So as a kid, you bought a Chappie and you took it out of the wrapper, you chewed it, and it had flavor for about 3 seconds, and then it sucked. So it was kind of not worth it. But if you opened up the piece of paper, there was this writing on it. I can't remember, was there a joke as well? But what got to me was the little fact, like the did you know? Like I used to be terrified. And I don't know if I hallucinated this, but I remember vividly one that said, if all the people on this side of the earth jumped up at the same time and hit the ground at the same time, it would knock the earth out of orbit. And I was terrified of that as a child. Anyway, I'm going way too much into Chappies. But anyway, so do you remember Chappies? Now, Bill Bryson, his general science stuff is Chappies for adults. That is exactly what it is. It's got his writing style is like, you know, if you think of Terry Pratchett, the jokes and the one-liners that he does that, but he gives you a whole bunch of information that is super entertaining. I remember, I cannot read this with anybody in the room because I laugh so much that that person will want to kill me. Now, this was the original Chappies for adults, published originally in 2003. This is the best-selling general science book of all time. There are booksellers on this call that have sold tens, if not hundreds themselves, I'm sure. And this is now a short history of nearly everything 2.0. Now, let me give you a taste of some of the facts that are in here. I'm just gonna read a few. There's the kind of philosophical stuff like on average, humans share 99.9% of our genes with each other. You know, that's the basis for a whole bunch of peace treaties. I guess without even trying to be funny. As the universe expands, it doesn't simply move into existing space, it creates new space as it grows. That blows my mind. And then there's a bit more funny stuff you can kind of throw out at a braai when it gets to that awkward silence kind of time. So you can say, you share 50% of your bodily chemistry with bananas. 50%, half of the stuff that happens in your body happens in bananas. We are constantly discovering new moons, but they all seem to be potato shaped. Okay, that kind of thing. So that is the kind of thing that Bryson gives us in these books. I'm truly excited about this because this is really 2.0. This is at least 20% new stuff, and it has been more than 20 years, so it is due for an update. It is the perfect book to introduce a whole new generation of readers into not just general science, but nonfiction as a whole. I mean, before this book, I didn't read nonfiction. This book, I own every single edition of this book. I love it that much, and I'm going to own every single edition of this. And I hope you're as excited as I am to introduce a whole new generation of readers to Bill Bryson and a short history of nearly everything.
Yeah, Monet. This is the one for all the knowledge vacuums.
What's up, fellow foodies? My name is Carl Tessendorf. I'm a writer and recipe developer from Cape Town, South Africa. This is my 4th book with Penguin. and it is called The Good Stuff. Look at that sexy lamb pie on the cover. It is packed with 80 rib stick-in recipes for people who love to eat, drink, and be merry. All the good stuff we like in the winter months. Pure comfort food. There's pies, pastas, bakes, roasts. There's even a couple of salads in there, if that's your thing. A lot of it is just really good food inspired by the stuff that I ate growing up. My mother was a great cook. Thanks, Mom. And yeah, I'm super proud of it. Writing a recipe book is always a labor of love, and it wouldn't be possible without Penguin. And also a big shout out to all the booksellers. Thank you very much, guys, for stocking the books. It wouldn't be possible without you. Thank you. Please go and buy my book. Cheers.
Okay, guys. So, when you look at that video, I was saying this the other day, if you look at any video or picture where someone's got books in the background, you always sort of look there and you go, what books are there? And quietly, I'm judging you for the books that you have behind you. And I see he had Ottolenghi flavor in there, which means he's okay in our books. So if you don't know Carl Tessendorf, he's one half of the Beer Country Boys. We did 3 books with the collaboration, which is his brother-in-law. So Beer Country, Food Fire, and then we did Pots, Pans, and Potjies. And then recently we did Blackouts and Boerewors. So we did 3 books. And now Carl has sort of gone solo, as they say. But he is a big part of the first 3 books. He's really, really good at what he does in terms of he's a bit of a alchemist in terms of flavor and recipe building, really. And if you pick this book up, you'll see exactly what I mean. He's put in flavors in there, cheeses. There's so many good cheeses in there, and he mixes different cheeses up in one recipe. It's just absolutely stunning. The book is out, so if you are in a store, or if you've been in a bookstore recently, you will see what I mean. And that pie on that cover, in-house, inside story here, we went around and around the table on whether we should put a pie on the cover. I went to retailers talking to them about it. Eventually, we came all the way back to the pie, and it was the best thing that we ever did. The pie is just amazing, especially in these cold months. If you have that book displayed, if you're in stores, people will just gravitate towards it. So yeah, I mean, it's so exciting to work with Carl. He's really a great guy to work with. As you can see from the video, you can just tell there's amazing recipes in it. The other day, I got my copy, came to the office, and we all were just flooded around the book, and we were just sort of talking about, oh, we should do that, we should do that, we should do that. And so in-house, we are big fans as well. And then one last thing on this one, I was coming back from Cape Town from the media event the other day. Yesterday, I walked into one of the stores at the airport, and one of the staff, he was really sweet. He was like, hey man, you were talking about this book. Here, I actually sold a couple this morning because I couldn't stop talking about it myself. And I had a look at it. You were right. There's a really good stuff in there. So look out for this one. It will be in the market for a while, I think, and it's really one of the most delicious books we put together.
If I challenged you to get anything done 10 times faster and 10 times cheaper, anything at all, would you know where to begin? Well, in the world of behavioral economics, there have been some amazing breakthroughs over the past few decades, ways of doing things that are so much smarter than we've ever known before. But here's the problem. They're scattered about the landscape. Some of them come from the study of teams and business. Some of them come from architecture and the study of how great projects are put together. Some of them come from studies about families or the studies about your brain. And no one has ever put them all together. Until now. Wicked Smart is the first collection of all these breakthroughs, the most useful ones, what we call smart cuts. Steve Jobs expressed it this way. He says your average animal is more energy efficient than a human, but put a human on a bike and he blows past all of them. I went searching for bicycles for the mind, smart ways to get everything done faster, better, cheaper. I'm proud to be working with you in launching this book. I've had several previous bestsellers in the South African industry from Penguin Random House SA, including titles like Own Your Industry, How to Position Yourself as an Expert, Is Your Thinking Keeping You Poor, and Poverty Proof. I'm proud of Wicked Smart, and I speak on the topic as well. If you need interviews, if you need content, if you need media, please just ask. As an active global speaker on the business circuit, my heart is invested in making this book work. As they struggle to get things done, let's provide people with real answers, smarter ways forward. Let's go change some lives. I'm Douglas Kruger. The new one is Wicked Smart.
Okay, guys, I just have to say, I love the reaction, so please keep that coming. I just see a flood of hearts when Lisa Jewell came onto the screen. I'm not sure if it was for that one particularly, but thank you for the interaction. We love it. Keep them coming. Keep your reactions coming. Put all your comments in there, whether you like them or not. Just pump them in there. And we about halfway through now, so stick with us. Okay, so Reacher is back this year. Guess what? This is the 30th book in the series. Now, book number 30. I mean, it's an absolutely incredible brand. He's built something which many authors really don't get to do, and he's done it. And obviously, the last few books have been with Andrew, but all of that before him was all Lee Child. And then something for the real fans out there, the real hardcore guys out there, the stories behind the stories, which covers, like as it says, the origins of all the different books that came out in those stories. So it's really interesting, and I feel like we've got lots of Reacher fans out there, and they want to know, oh wow, book number 20, where did that one come from? Like, oh, that was so cool. How did they create that character? This is what you'll find in this one. So that's one for the real hardcore fans. So Exit Strategies, book number 30. As you know, as you may imagine, our UK and US counterparts will go absolutely crazy with the publicity, and so will we. I think it's something to celebrate in the book industry. To see an author and a brand like this, we need to celebrate 30 years, 30 books. Some of you have been in the trade for a long time, and you know exactly where he's coming from. So we thought we'd put something interesting in here. Monet and I were laughing at this. This is so cool, though. I love it. So this is 100 million copies
Truly
sold.
amazing, Buzz. I mean, just
Yeah, when you think about it, it's so cool. Over 30 books, 200 villains were eliminated. A book is sold every 9 seconds, which is crazy when you think about it. A book sold every 9 seconds. 52 Greyhound bus rides, Amazon Prime's top series, 30 plots foiled, and my personal favorite, 305 cups of coffee left unfinished, which is really cool. So Lee Child is a brand. He's really important to us. We really value having a book by him every year, whether it's a collection of short stories, whether it's stories behind the stories. When Lee Child comes to us and we have a book, we get really, really excited. So he's one of our brands that we really protect and love. So I'll give you a little bit on the plot line, just to tease you a little bit. So Jack Reacher is sitting in a coffee shop in Baltimore. As you know, Baltimore's really cold. He's sitting there, 2 black coffees, no nonsense, no messing about. 2 black coffees back to back. He sees a little scuffle in this restaurant. Nothing that could be, can't be handled. He gets up, pays his check. And when he pays his check, as he's walking out, this guy walks past him and sort of brushes up against him. And Jack being Jack, alarm bells go off. He sort of reaches in his pocket and he goes, okay, credit card, passport, he's good. Because he thought the guy had sort of maybe picked his wallet, picked his pocket. He goes off, he goes to a little shop to buy a coat because, like I said, it's Baltimore, so he thinks, let's get a coat and he can, whenever he's in a warmer climate, he can just get rid of it. So nothing fancy. He goes in, he picks the coat, goes to the cashier, pays, pulls his card out to pay, and as he reaches in for the card, for the bank card, he finds a little slip in his pocket. And he didn't find it the first time, obviously, so he picks it up, and on the card it says, "Help me." So now he's really, really interested. It had to be that guy. He's admiring the skills, he has to say, he admires the skill, but more importantly, he wants to see exactly what's going on with this guy, and obviously he wants to help him as well. He's Jack Reacher, he's the hero. So that's sort of where the story goes. I read this really cool quote. Now I thought it's such a cool one. James Patterson, for those of you guys who've seen the TI sheet on the new one, there was a quote that says, 2 childs are better than 1. And I agree. I think Andrew coming on and with Lee's, obviously starting the book and building the series, it's such a great collaboration now. And I hope you support it. It's a really great cover. I hope you like the cover. I think that color palette that they use is just really, really striking. So yeah, enjoy 2 Lee Childs this year.
always get a few chills when that video is shown with the wolf. But this is not what I'm going to talk about. I will talk about this. I'm going to give you 3, let's call them facts. The first fact is, did you know that Philip Pullman was once called the most dangerous author in Britain? I'm not going to get into why that is. You are welcome to Google it. It's available on the internet, but it's a fun read, to say the least. The second fact is, did you know that it's been 30 years since Northern Lights, the first book in the His Dark Materials series, was published? 1995. 30 years. Who feels old? Anyway, and the third fact, and this is a fact, is that I'm a nerd. One of the reasons I'm in publishing is simply because I read this kind of thing. I love a good fantasy, high fantasy, low fantasy, whatever you want to call it. Before romantasy was a thing, I liked romantasy. I like all these things. Before I read any kind of general fiction, I read fantasy, and Philip Pullman was one of those. So I'm very thankful to him and His Dark Materials, and later on the Book of Dust series, which this is the 3rd book of. Now, these books take place in a parallel Earth, very similar to ours. You would be, what's the difference, to be honest? There's small little differences. There's Britain is spelled with a Y. Magic, there's a couple of griffins flying around. Also, and the main difference is that making it very simple, the human soul manifests itself next to the other person as a animal-like being. So every person has a cat or a polar bear or a fox next to them that represents their soul, that they can communicate with, that can communicate with them. That's the kind of key difference, which makes for a whole fun story. Now, a lot of you are going, I don't understand. It's not that complicated. It's massively entertaining. In this world, the bad guys are, there's a lot of bad guys, but the main bad guys are the Magisterium. Now, think of them as a really fascist, oppressive Spanish Inquisition kind of thing. They are pure evil. They want to oppress knowledge. They don't want the class system to fall away. They have massive amounts of power across the world. They are the thing. And with the Book of Dust, with this series, there's, on the side of good, there's basically just one person, which is Lyra Belacqua, or Lyra Silvertongue, as she's known, because she lies a lot and she's good at it. She's a young girl. She's about 20 in the series. She's grown up through the series. She's brave. She's big-hearted, adventurous. She's got like a quick wit. She's a bit self-centered, to be honest, but everyone loves her. She's everyone's favorite character, I'm pretty sure, throughout this. And without getting too much into it, this is the battle between her and the Magisterium, and trying to get to the bottom of what is called dust, which is what binds this world together. And this is the final book. It is at least 500 pages on manuscript, probably more. The best compliment I can give this book is I got halfway through and I stopped reading it. Now, why is that a compliment for a book? Because I realized I was reading it for work. This is the kind of book that you savor. This is the kind of book that you take time with and you devour every single word, because Pullman is just that good. You do not rush through this, because this might be the last piece of writing we get from Philip Pullman in this kind of form. I am not going to rush through it, but I am going to buy every edition available, trade paperback, hardback, whatever is available, and so are thousands of other people in this country and across the world. I think this is one of the biggest publications for the sci-fi and fantasy nerds around. I hope a couple of you would agree with me, and even if you don't, just trust me on this.
Hallo van Leon van hier op die koudste dag in Gauteng, Johannesburg vandag. Soos julle kan sien, ek is 'n groot Snoopy bewonderaar, maar moenie bekommerd wees nie. Ek doen niks aan Snoopy in Die Volmaakte Moord nie. Die Volmaakte Moord, my jongste roman by Penguin Random House, gaan eintlik oor iemand wat met 'n moord wegkom. Ek dink Marina Fitzpatrick het oorspronklik met die idee gekom dat ek 'n roman moet skryf wat anders is as die gewone krimi. en ek het met die volmaakte moord begin. Ek en 'n vriend van my het 'n hele ruk gelede, so 4-5 jaar gelede, het ons op 'n toer gegaan deur Asië. Ons het begin in Shanghai en toe het ons Okinawa toe gegaan. Wat vir my van Okinawa geïnteresseer het, en dis waar die idee van die storie vandaan kom, is dat niemand eintlik op Okinawa sterf nie. Natuurlik nie niemand nie, maar baie min mense. Dis die eiland in die wêreld waar die meeste mense tot 110, 115 bly leef. Daar het ek gedink dis 'n lekker afspringplek. Ons het daarna gegaan na Hong Kong en Hong Kong was vir my ongelooflik en daar het die hele storie eintlik bymekaar gekom. Die storie oor 'n pianis wat die volmaakte stuk musiek skryf en wat alles met hom gebeur en hy speel dit natuurlik ook op die boot. Dan is daar 'n moord of meer as een moord op die boot. Wat my daar beïnvloed het was ons het in 'n tifoon beland. Tussen Hong Kong en Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. En ek kan net vir julle sê dat om in 'n tifoon op 'n boot te wees, 'n plesierboot, is iets verskrikliks. Dis 'n totale chaos. En daar het ek gedink, sê nou maar net, iemand word daar vermoor. Dis baie lekker want dan kan jy nie die polisie van, kom ons sê maar Japan of China of Vietnam of wie ook al inbring nie. So jy het net die klomp mense wat op die boot vasgekeer is. Daar is natuurlik 'n klomp Suid-Afrikaners. Die hoofkarakters is 'n forensiese patoloog, Madeleine, en dan 'n kulkunstenaar, Helmut. En ek het gedink, as hierdie twee bymekaar kom en hulle probeer moorde gedurende 'n tifoon op die boot oplos, wat gaan die antwoord wees? En dit is waaroor die volmaakte moord gaan, met 'n pianis wat vreemde en rare dinge doen.
Great jacket, that one. Another great jacket. Ian McEwan is back. We've been publishing Ian McEwan for 50 years this year. We published his first book was in 1975. You won the Booker in 1998. And we are still going. And he hasn't really picked a genre, has he? He does what he does, and it's unmistakably Ian McEwan, and we're so glad to have a brand new one here. So this one's a really interesting one. It's set in 2119. So there's two timelines. 2119, climate change has happened. The climate has changed. England is literally underwater. What's left of England is just a few little islands that are left over. And there's a guy, the main character, by the name of Tom Metcalfe. And Tom Metcalfe is an academic at the University of South Downs, and he is going through the archives of a very famous poet from 2014. Who was Francis Blandy. Francis Blandy was a genius, and he had a wife named Vivian, and he's going through all the documents and all the diaries and journals, and he's trying to piece together something, or look for something rather. And it's interesting what he's actually looking for. He's looking for a poem that Francis had written to Vivian. That poem was called A Corona for Vivian. And he's going through all these journals, trying to find a clue, something that'll give him an idea of where the actual poem is, because the poem represented something to him and to a lot of people, and he's trying to track it down. And that's what the first half of the book is. It's sort of a treasure hunt on exactly where this poem is. In the second half, we go into Vivian's, the actual story. So you get a full account of exactly what went down at that time in 2014 when Vivian was alive and her husband was alive. And you get to know exactly what that story was. And thereby, maybe you sort of know where the poem is. So the poem, A Corona, as he says in the book, is made up of 15 sonnets. It's really technical. It's a really, really hard undertaking. So it's 15 sonnets, each with 4 lines. Each of those sonnets, the last line of every sonnet must match the first line of the next one. And then when you come to the 15th sonnet, the first line of the preceding 4 must be the 15th sonnet, but it must still all make sense. So it's a really technical thing that Francis wrote. It was a poem. And this is what he's actually looking for. But essentially what the book is about history. It's about how we are here. All of us are here now. And Popina alluded to some of this when she was talking now. And it's how we sort of look back in history and how we sort of forget the present. And the people that we when we look back in history and we look at the lives that those people lived and the people that we that we adore from history, and we think sometimes, I wish I'd lived in that time. That's sort of what the book sort of makes you think about. It sort of makes you really gather yourself and say, this moment right here, all of us in this platform, this is our time. And maybe there'll be another time where people will look back on a room full of passionate booksellers or book readers and admire us for something. So that's that sort of thinking. It really goes deep. It makes you think about things. It makes you think about your life now, because, looking back in history, we all sort of, everything gets elevated a little bit sometimes. And who writes history? That's the other thing he questions in this book. Who writes history, and how much of what they wrote is true or not true, right? And how much of it should we believe, and how much of it should we actually pay attention to? So that's sort of where the title comes from as well. What we can know is sort of a reference to that. So it's classic Ian McEwan. It's done in a really good, clean storytelling style. He writes beautifully well, and yeah, for those literary fans, I think this will be a good one to pick up this year.
I'm Lauren Williams, and this is Sharon Pierce, and together we have written a book called How to Survive the AI Apocalypse, a guide for solutionists. Now we know what you're thinking.
Another book about AI. The good news is it's more about the I and not about the AI. And I as in me, the organization, the person, the team, and what we need to do to actually add value and create value in organizations and for clients. It really is a book more about value creation. AI being a, I don't know, what do we call it? A playing field leveler. Something that forces you out of mediocrity only because there's now a sense of urgency. But we argue actually being a solutionist and adding value to clients and your employees is more important in the world of work. And yeah, it's time for us to focus on a model that creates contextual solutions for everyone in the world.
Exactly. It's basically a book about the things that you should have been doing all along, but now you have to do, because the times and the technologies around us are not allowing you to get away with the bullshit that you've been getting away with until now.
Exactly. Working in bullshit jobs, adding bullshit processes, all of which adds cost at the end of the day to anyone who's buying from you. And so therefore, whether you have an individual brand or not, you're going to have to learn to focus on providing value. And if you don't know how to do that, well, this is the book for you. And we are super passionate about this message, as we have been all along in the work that we do, in consulting and everything else. So it's time to be forced out of mediocrity, guys. And while AI might be the trigger, this isn't a book about how to use it, what to do with it, etc. It's actually how to survive in a marketplace, actually.
Yeah, whether you are a business or an individual, this is the book that you need to read. And we're looking forward to working with you to getting this message out to all the people who need to hear it, which is everyone.
Let's really create a movement here, a movement for solutionists. No one needs bullshit.
Right. I asked to present Freddie Forsyth, late beginning of this year. I think we lost him. He passed away, which was a very sad moment. And I think we tend to maybe gloss over him a bit more than we should. So I thought I'll take my opportunity and just talk about him a little bit. For me, I was introduced to him when I was 11. Our family went on holiday to beachside. We were lucky enough to do that. And when we got there, it rained for the whole time we were there. In that time, I did three things. I cooked breakfast once. My parents told me never to do it again. I watched The Lion King about 26 times and memorized every single line. And I read a book that was originally published in 1976 called The Odessa File, which this book is the follow-up to. I read The Odessa File 3 times because it was that good. It was the first book that I read at the time that introduced me to any kind of big conspiracy. I couldn't understand how anyone had the imagination to come up with it. And I still feel exactly the same, even when where I am now. Freddie Forsyth is that kind of writer that takes this big thing. I think, you know, people like Dan Brown, a lot of their epicness has been built on the backs of, or the pillar of, somebody like Freddie Forsyth. And the Odessa File was about essentially an organization called the Odessa, who at the end of the Second World War hid a bunch of SS officers across the world, mostly in South America. And how that organization was brought down by a guy called Peter Miller. Now, the Revenge of Odessa, Freddie Forsyth saw what he perceived was happening in the world, the rise of ultranationalism, and as he perceived it, the right, specifically in the US and Germany, and he decided to write this follow-up, you know, based on what he saw. Now, Odessa was pretty much definitively shut down in the Odessa File, according to me. But somehow they survived, and they've morphed into an organization called Medusa, which has more power, more reach across the world globally. Think Illuminati vibes. And Peter Miller's grandson, George Miller, somehow gets involved in all of this. And like his grandfather, he gets pulled into all of this. He gets pulled across continents, from the forests of Germany right to the White House, where there's a whole bunch of people in there that might or might not be, again, fabulous psychological thriller, like that old school spy thriller. Again, if you need a palate cleanser, this is it. If you need a beach read, this is it. I'm not kidding. Anybody will enjoy this. It's fast-paced. It's quite a thick book, but you won't realize it. You'll read it. It's a day, maybe 2 days, and you'll just race through it like you would a Netflix series. Fantastic.
Okay, guys, so you've seen some really good cookbooks there. Sarah Graham is back to her older form, and now we've got Ilse back. This is the fourth book we're doing with her. We did Cape Mediterranean, we did Simply Seasonal, and then recently we did Easy Al Fresco. It's stunning books. If you don't have an Ilse van der Merwe in your cookbook collection, you're missing out seriously. So this one is, as it says, timeless South African. She had this great idea to put together a cookbook with all the South African classics in one book. And I think she even underestimated what a task that was going to be. Firstly, just to nail down, South Africans, we've got such a wide array of cultures and flavors. Just to lock it down into 100 recipes in and of itself is an achievement. But what she's done here is she's put together 101 recipes across the board. So you'll find anything and everything that's a South African. If it's a classic, it's there. And she's done, there's a little write-up on each of the recipes. So she tells you where the recipe came from and a little history behind each one as well, which is, I thought, just such a nice sort of tip of the cap to these recipes and where they come from. That's so cool. It's a kind of book that if let's say you have someone, a relative or friend that lives overseas, and they go, I miss South Africa and I miss the food, and this is the kind of book you'd want to get for them. It's that sort of book. It's got 2 milk tart recipes, not one, which I found amazing. There's a baked one and a fridged one. There's things like bunny chow in there. There's a whole bunch of South African recipes in there. If you're South African and we all probably heard of it, maybe we haven't tasted it. That's the other thing. And there's a lot of recipes in there that I looked at and go, I know that recipe, I know that dish, but I actually haven't tried it. And this is the kind of book where I can actually pick it up and say, I'm going to attempt it today and try and make it. So kudos to Ilse for doing this book. I think it's really, really great what she's done here. Hardback, beautiful photography. Our lifestyle team, I just want to give them a quick shout as well. They've done so well. I mean, if you look at what we did at the Gourmand Awards this year, 7 awards. They really are a team of publishers that are getting better and better and better at what they do. So when they put a cookbook out, they really, really give it everything. And I really admire them for that. So enjoy it. It's nice to have book 4 from Ilse, Timeless South African. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So I got one more. Jan's books is another one. I mean, if you've ever picked up a Jan van der Westhuizen book, you know exactly what you're getting, right? It's going to be amazing photography, recipes that look a lot more complicated than they actually are to cook. But when you actually sit down and read the recipe and how to put it together, you'll realize you can put together some really stunning stuff on your own in your own kitchen. So this book was inspired by his voyages, Jan's voyages, and what that is every year he has this thing that people pay to come with him. They get put up. He even picks you up from the airport. He takes you on a whole trip, and it starts in the southern region of France, and it takes you all the way down into Italy in a place called Apricale, which is like this sort of hillside town. It's absolutely beautiful. This is whatever you think about Italy and rustic Italy, that's sort of what this town looks like. And then he takes you for the whole week. You go shop local ingredients. You go and eat at his restaurant. You cook with him. He takes you through a masterclass. So it's a whole experience. If you love to travel and you love food, I mean, it's the ultimate. Our very own Diane Bibby is one of the people who wrote the introduction, one of the introductions in the book. So when you open it up, you'll see her there. She did a book called More Good Food, which is just stunning as well. So the book has this amazing sort of set of recipes, but in between that, you've got this beautiful photography of them in Italy and France touring around. I mean, the photography alone, if you've seen Klein Jan that we did recently, it's sort of that feel. Absolutely stunning. The picture doesn't do justice. I can guarantee you that. It's going to be green, that Jan's going to be in gold sort of foil. So it sort of hits that space between coffee table book and recipe book. So it's that perfect intersection. If you're a collector or you're a cook or both, this should be in your collection. Absolutely stunning. I can't wait for this to come out.
Hi there, my name's Craig Wilkinson, the author of Force for Good. I am so excited about releasing this book. I've been working with boys and men for over a decade, And I believe there's never been a greater need to teach and inspire boys, young men, and generally all men about what it means to be a man. Positive, healthy masculinity. We're living in a world where there's so much confusion about masculinity. We're living in a world where there's been a lot of demonization of masculinity. Hashtag men are trash, toxic masculinity. We need to teach boys and men what it means to be a man, a strong, resilient man, a good, caring, loving, healthy man. And that's what this book is all about. The tragedy is when we don't teach men these things, there's a massive vacuum. And into that vacuum come voices which are destructive. And that leads boys down the wrong path. And we've seen that so often of late. This book has 3 sections. The first section talks about being man, what it means to be a man in the current environment, in the current world where there's so much confusion and so many different messages about masculinity. The first section talks about the battles that men need to fight, how we as men need to stand up against what's wrong, stand for what's right, against racism, all the different isms, and just be a force for good. It talks about our equally important co-creators of the world, women, and how we should see women and treat women and be a partner to women. That's section 1. Section 2 talks about becoming a force, how we as men can be the most competent, together, responsible individuals we can possibly be. And I define strengths as, or being a force, as your ability to impact the lives of others, your ability to impact and influence the world. So we talk about this, how we can grow ourselves to be the maximum force. And the final section, called Being Good, talks about how do we use our strengths? How do we use our strength only for good? How do we take responsibility? How do we walk with love? How do we make this world a better place? This book is for all young men. It's for men of all ages, really, teaching and inspiring healthy, positive, good, loving, caring, strong, resilient masculinity. It's also a book that women will find very interesting, very intriguing, helping women to understand what drives men and how to hold the men in their lives accountable to the highest standard. So I'm excited. This is an amazing book, and I think the time is just right for a book of this nature.
Hi, I'm Lila Lurie, author of The Big Tasty Bites, a playful take on a broad range of recipes. So think hearty, slow-cooked stews, Asian, Mexican, and South African-inspired recipes, 30-minute-ish meals, and of course, deliciously naughty desserts. My love for cooking good food and sharing those recipes with my taste bud community was made possible thanks to Penguin Random House Books. The team really helped me bring everything that is The Big Tasty Bite to life. I want the reader to comfortably create big bite-worthy dishes that are approachable, tasty, and encourages them to confidently step into the kitchen, adding in their own twist wherever they see fit, because as we know, adding your own touch to an already delicious recipe is where you start discovering yourself as a cook. We are, after all, our own personal chefs. So put on the apron and let's get cooking.
I've baked from this one, the chocolate cake and the Swiss roll milk tart. Oh, amazing.
And listen, just to say, I mean, Viz is exceptional at pitching these cookery books, but he does actually also cook out of them.
I do. Well, I try.
So
yeah, you gotta live it, you know.
Stamp of approval from Viz. I tend to trust him. I tend to buy them just to put them on my shelf because they're really pretty. Anyway, yeah. Sure. Okay. So I know it's been a while, and I know we're close to the end, but just give me your attention for this.
Couple more, guys. Hang in.
Yeah.
Couple more.
Arundhati Roy, you know, there are many authors that we like, many authors that we love, quite a few that we absolutely adore, but there's only a handful, like on my one hand, that I am truly in awe of. She is one of them, and with good reason. I mean, her CV reads like no one else's. She's written 2 fiction books, 20 years apart. The one won the Booker. The other one, according to me, should have, but made the long list. So she's got 100% hit rate for the long list for the Booker, for all her fiction, which I don't think a lot of people can say. It's pretty much her and Kieran Desai now, isn't it? Then she's written non-fiction, and this is where the cool thing comes in, where I think she's changed laws. She's been in front of the Constitutional Court because of it 3 times. She's been in jail at least once. And she has, according to me and according to quite a few people, actually saved human lives because of her writing, because of what she's brought to light. what she stopped and what she's informed on. She's a truly exceptional author. But this book, this is her story, and this is a little bit different. In fact, it's a lot different. This feels different to her other things in the sense that this is like sitting on a bench, you know, looking out at the ocean. Arundhati Roy is sitting there, and she's just telling you a story, her story. And when people tell their own stories, they tend to just go with it. And if you combine telling your own story with an exceptional writer like Arundhati Roy is, you get this piece of absolute magic. The story starts off with, obviously, the title Mother Mary, which was Arundhati's mother, who, this is the first third of the book. She is, at the same time, to the people around her, the people at her school, she was a headmistress, started a school in one of the rural parts of India. Mother Mary, she was, at the same time, to the people around her, she was the kindest, most gentle, wise, firm, but kind person. And then to her two kids, Arundhati and her brother, she was the cruelest, there's no other way to put it, the cruelest, almost despicable person. Arundhati's brother always jokes that the dedication for the God of Small Things, her first book of fiction is, how does it go? To my mother, who she loved me enough to let me go. Arundhati's brother jokes to Arundhati that is the only piece of fiction in that book. Now, that's a whole can of worms right there. That is fabulous. First third, Arundhati somehow gets out of this and she goes to Delhi. That is the second third, where Arundhati tells her story, still with the mother who has now moved to the background. And she signposts this with her publications, from The God of Small Things to her nonfiction, to the Ministry of Utmost Happiness. Remarkable life. You hear about the constitutional courts, the going to jail, the embedding with guerrillas, the dam that almost burst on her head and almost killed about 100,000 people. And then the last third is where she goes back to see her mother for what will be, I mean, this is said in the beginning, the last time. I'm not going to tell you if they reconcile. I don't think it's, I think you absolutely must read it. Now, as a product manager, I read this book and thought this is magnificent. Then I sent it to the people in the team. There's a couple of core people that I sent it to. And you expect people to come back, and it's terrifying because you don't know if you're overhyping it. And for a week, there was no feedback. So I was like, I got this completely wrong. And then the feedback started coming in, and I'll read you some of it. So it said, this is from the internal team. It said, oh my word, she's an absolute genius. Clearly, this book will win all the prizes. Flip it. And flip it is actually another word that I can't say because we're being recorded. And then somebody said, this is it. This is why nothing, absolutely nothing, can replace the written word. And last night, there was someone that said, this is the best piece of international publishing. And this was not internal. This was external from the proof. This is the best piece of international publishing in the last 5 years, including fiction, including non-fiction. You can make of that what you will. Proofs are available. Obviously, I'm super invested in this. I agree that this is something truly exceptional. You can compare it to Antjie Krog, the fraught relationship with a mother, certainly. You can even compare it, if you don't know anything about Arundhati Roy, think Educated if you want to. It's got the same kind of impact that Educated had. But to me, this is a memoir like no other, and it must stand on its own. I think it's an exceptional piece of publishing, and I'm incredibly proud to be involved with.
Yeah, Monet, I think, I was saying this at the event the other night. I almost didn't finish. I needed to read Harlan Coben's new one, which I'll talk about just now. And then I mistakenly picked this up and I started reading it, and I was sucked in 50 pages already. And I was like, I have to stop. Otherwise, I'm not going to be ready for this presentation. And it's the kind of book you go, how did we get so lucky as a publisher?
Yeah. It really does define that. It's like, how did we get so lucky? Anyway, yeah.
She could publish it
thank you for that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Gareth Crocker, author of the Reuben Ellis thriller series. The first book, Now You Suffer, came out last year, and now it's time for the sequel. In Now You Bleed, Reuben and the team are hunting a killer who's targeting his victims with a designer poison that causes them to bleed out. Their search leads them to an unlikely suspect, a world-renowned scientist, a man with a brilliant mind but a twisted view on death and the afterlife. The deeper they go, the stranger and more dangerous the case becomes. And just when they think they've figured it out, there's the twist, a big one. And Now You Bleed, nothing is what it seems.
Take one. Action. Hi, my name is Usinoelo Sifo, also known as Usifo the Cooking Husband. I'm a cookbook author of Usifo the Cooking Husband, Volume 2. Yeah. Sifo the Cooking Husband, Volume 2 is about this husband, of course me, who loves to cook, who loves creating dishes for his wife. So on this book, I share some of my quick and easy to make, delicious and scrumptious recipes that are actually ideal for the whole family. That's what you can expect from this book. I mean, we have breakfast dishes, pasta dishes, traditional dishes, dessert, baking, I mean, you name it. So with Sifo the Cooking Husband Volume 2, we're still carrying that same energy, trying to motivate more guys to be active in the kitchen. So as you know, my journey has always been inspired by my beautiful wife, who has always pushed me to work hard. So this book is dedicated to her and my beautiful and lovely, amazing supporters who have been behind Usifo the Cooking Husband from day one. This book is for you guys. Thank you so much. And to my beautiful family, Omadunono Kala, Omsutu, this is for us, guys. So yeah, please grab yourself a copy. Yeah, let's get cooking. I mean, with this book, you're really gonna enjoy the recipes that I put out there. And lastly, special shout out to my publisher, Penguin Random House. Thank you so much, guys, for giving me a platform to share my story, to share my love and passion. Really appreciate what you guys are doing. Enkosi kakhulu, uMaDuna Msutu. Uyabulela. Bye.
I want to be his best friend.
Yeah, we all do. Eh? I've also done his chocolate chip banana bread, Monet. That was a good one in the first book.
Don't stop. Make me hungry.
Yeah.
I've got a few loves in my life. No, it's not just Lotte Brooks and Bluey. I can read adult books as well. And it was my love with Jeanette Paul started. Actually, I need to go a bit back, and I know I'm not selling Lucinda Riley, but it starts somewhere. So just hold on, just give me a chance. So it was when the Butterfly Room came out for Lucinda Riley, and I saw it everywhere. It was a beautiful jacket, and maybe it's because I love green so much. So I really noticed the beautiful displays, the green jacket. And then, as we as publishers do on a Thursday, as soon as those Nielsen figures come through, it's like, yeah, we sit on it. We want to see the best-selling titles, what our titles are doing. And then I saw, oh my goodness, this is the Green Book. I'm sure it's the Green Book, Lucinda Riley, and she's selling bucket loads. And I thought, okay, I would like to see what this is all about. And then I actually got, someone told me, no, you have to read The Seven Sisters, bought The Seven Sisters, started reading it, absolutely loved it, completely in love with Lucinda Riley. So in 2020 and COVID, when we started, when Lapa Books joined the family, they very generously sent me a whole box of Lapa titles. And there was not just children's books, there was adult titles. And one of the books were Korali by Jeanette Paul. And I took it and I started reading it. Oh my goodness, did I fall in love. And I thought, okay, maybe this is a one book wonder. It was a favorite for if you don't know. So I started reading Jeanette Paul, and I promise you, I was sitting there and I remember finishing another book, and I sat back and I said, you know what? This woman, Jeanette Paul, is Afrikaanse Lucinda Riley. Because they both do. But stop laughing. But I heard it so many times now. I can't believe you're still laughing. But she's Lucinda Riley. This is Afrikaanse Lucinda Riley. They all their books are, in modern times, but it goes back in history. It's all about your ancestors and the decisions they made in the past and the ripple effect it have on the rest of us. It's very. Some of them is really heartbreaking that you cry in the book, you laugh out loud. And this is why I love Jeanette Paul. She speaks a language. I love the way she speaks Afrikaans because my Afrikaans is not very pure. So I mix the language a little bit. And Jeanette gets it right. And she speaks like we do. The stories is like, for example, in Deja Vu, I'm with Monet. I will not finish this in manuscript form because I need to read it. I'm sorry, I'm not reading it for this. I need to read it for the love for this woman. So I'm going to finish it when I get the real book. But I started this manuscript, and I was in a plane last week trying to read this on my laptop, and there was terrible turbulence, And when you really love a book, when you sit with the laptop, it says stop turbulence, and I'm reading while the laptop goes. This is she's amazing. I love her. It's not just me. South Africa has spoken. The last 3 books that we did, we grew with 11% year on year. I want to tell you, it's like 1,000 copies every year more. So yeah, just saying it. She is fantastic. She's a wonderful promoter. When you read her books, like for example in Deja Vu, it starts off, I'm not telling you the story, you have to read it yourself. it starts off with this poor woman is driving from between Hermanus and Mossel Bay. So she's driving there, and it's raining. And if you've driven that road, you know that sometimes there's no shoulder. It's not a great road, okay? And it's raining, and this police officer with his little yellow bib jumps in the road, but you couldn't really see him when he stands there because I'm laughing. It's not funny, but it is funny. And he jumps in, and she needs to put on the brakes. And so she slides, and when she at last gets, stop, the guy said, "You're a vrouw. You could have killed me in Afrikaans," So it's funny, but it's not funny. And that's Jeanette Ball. She talks from the heart. She builds these families that some of them you want to kill them yourself, otherwise you fall in love with them. And you have a sense of belonging when you read the book. You love the characters, you hate them, but you will have an emotion for them. I am obsessed with her. Anything this woman writes, I will beg and borrow to get a manuscript. Then I'll start the manuscript and wait for the final, and I will leave it for Christmas because it's like chocolate. You can wait for it. It's that good. There will be a lot of promotions. I don't know if you know, but she's written more than 50 books. 50 books. And she turned 50. So I feel like I need to meet her. I've never met her. So I'm going to stalk her this year when this book comes out, and I'm going to meet Jeanette Ball.
Hi, I'm Herman Hensing, and I'm back with a brand new book called Herman se Tafel. This book is something special. It's filled with 10 chapters, each containing a beautiful menu crafted with accessible and easy ingredients, along with a beautiful table setting to inspire readers to create a lovely dinner party at home. What makes this book so unique? It's a bit of nostalgia and a bit of modern flavors and new modern techniques. Think of a chapter inspired by my grandma's kitchen, right up to a chapter even for my dogs. This book is a visual feast for the eye and for the kitchen. Make sure to get it. And thank you to all the wonderful suppliers and booksellers out there who's been the lifeline to all of us authors. Long live print and long live beautiful cookbooks. Herman se Tafel, soon in shops from November.
And another book, I think we need to go back to Herman. And another book that I'm not just a book, a man that I like. So it was a few years back, and I think it was 3 years ago when he did Hay Scores, his first book. He came to a media event, and I met him there. But he was talking, and I was looking at him, and he had feelies on. I love feelies. I can't wear them. My daughter says I can't pull it off. But anyway, he had feelies on. It was different colors, and he rocked it. And afterwards, I went to him and said, I like your feelies. And I swear he blushed. He was so sweet. He was the nicest, kindest guy, and we started talking. And what you don't realize is that Herman is actually, like we said, around the world, he's a celebrity chef. He's on TV, he makes videos, people know about him, and he's a real chef. He actually finished a chef course, a course, whatever. He is a bona fide chef. He knows what he's talking about. But when you look at his books, so the first book that came out, Hay Scores, sold over 9,000 copies. Now that's incredible for a cookbook. And then his second book that we did last year was Nostalgie, and we sold over 5,000 copies. So he knows what he's talking about, and like I said, celebrity. But when we talked about this presentation, I said it was, I'll do Herman, and I said, but please can I have one of the books, because I've never, I've seen the book but never went through it. And the book is actually in the kitchen at the moment, and it lies there because we page through it all the time. It's visually beautiful. Don't get me wrong, his books are absolutely beautiful or whatever, but it's about the food. When I see Herman's books, it's quite classy, it's beautiful, the food is fantastic, it's sousklaitjies, there's a lot of yummy stuff, sousklaitjies, pancakes, things that we grew up with. But what I laughed, I said, but when I look at the books, it always reminds me of, we would go camping, we love camping, and then at night we will have camp coffee. So it's basically coffee and you put condensed milk in it. And that's, and it's the most, I never would drink it now, but we loved it. And that's how I feel about Herman's books. He started the love of food. Was entrenched in him when he was sitting with his mom and his grandma in the kitchen around the table, and they would cook, and we all had it. I was sitting there as a young child when my the whole family gathering, and all the ladies would make pancakes, and I would just wait for the scraps, the ones who didn't work, because then I will eat them. And that is what Herman brings to the box. And of course, he is, a chef as well. So this book is about how do we entertain at home? How do we invite people to your home? And I think there's nothing better than sitting around a table with a lot of people, and we all eat together and we chat together. And I think after COVID, we realized how we need that and how good it is for our souls. So this book is how to invite people to your table, how to really entertainment. So it's beautiful laid tables. And I love that. It's beautiful. The food is there's canapes, there's starters, there's the mains, there's beautiful desserts. But it's how to make your people that come to your home feel special. So basically, there's menus and everything. I really love Herman. Like I say, I've got nostalgia in the kitchen. It reminds me of lovely food and just people around you that you love and that you can share food with. That's the best, isn't it? It's sharing food. There's nothing better than that.
Kudos to our Belinda for putting together that wonderful video package. The Last Lions, when we think about publishing, by the way, these are the gentlemen that brought us The Last Elephants a couple of years ago. That book was just stunning. And but more importantly, it brought into highlight the threats that elephants face. And this is sort of what this one does for lions. At the beginning of it, they gave you a bit of the numbers there. So the numbers of lions in the wild lions have diminished dramatically. And, as human population continues to expand, so the threat becomes ever more. So I think, I was telling Monet earlier, we talked about Arundhati's book and sometimes we feel very lucky to be able to publish something important. And when we get something like this, it's our sort of contribution, I think, to the cause and to what we need to do as human beings to preserve lions. So human beings have always been a little obsessed with lions. I was watching this weird video that popped up on my YouTube the other day, and it said the Great Sphinx, they have a theory that the head was originally a lion and then was later changed, which if that's true, that would have been really cool to look at. But anyway, beside the point, The Last Lions is a monumental publication. It will give you everything you need to know, the conservation efforts that have gone in all around the world, from all over Africa into Asia and so forth. It gives you a really, really deep insight into the brave people as well that are fighting the cause and trying to preserve and trying to keep these amazing creatures growing and well on Earth. So I think, like it said there, this is a landmark publication. As you saw there, it's got some amazing images and photography inside. I just want to say kudos to our nature team. They are a world-class unit, and when they put something down, they do not mess about. This is a big one for us. So please support this book, and you know, as I said, it's our contribution to the cause.
Hi to our South Africa fans.
I'm Reese Witherspoon.
And I'm Harlan Coben.
And it turns out we wrote a novel together.
Yeah, it's called Gone Before Goodbye. Don't read it late at night because it's going to keep you up all night.
Thrills, chills, an incredible female character at the center of it, international intrigue.
And it's been so much fun to collaborate. I never thought I'd like collaborating with anybody, I gotta be honest, but it's been so much fun and I can't wait for you to see it.
I talked him into it. I twisted his arm.
We are so obsessed with this story and we hope that you guys will be too.
Okay, last couple, guys. I just want to say quickly thank you to the team and thank you to everybody who stuck by us. We're almost done. So yeah, like I said, Harlan Coben and Reese Witherspoon. Reese had this amazing idea for a good story, and she wanted to initially just make it into a movie and also act in it. And then she went, but hang on, this could also be a really cool book. This could be a really cool book. So she starts thinking who she can actually approach to write the book. Who's the best thriller writer around? And Harlan Coben came up. She approached him. He said no initially. And then she started telling him about the story. And then he goes, okay, say less. Let's see if we can do this. And they write this book together. So the story is about two people, Mags and Mark. They are surgeons. They went to good universities. They've done good things. They've started nonprofits, but they've worked in the combat field. So they've worked in the army and they've done great work in very dangerous territory. The book starts off with Mark on an operating table with a 15-year-old boy, and he's doing open heart surgery. And in the distance, this is somewhere in northern Africa, close to Libya, they hear gunfire, and the rebel forces or whatever it is are coming towards them, and he's operating, and the people in the room start to get really nervous, and they say to him, Mark, look, we've got to get out of here. They're going to come in here and we're all going to be dead. So he tells them to leave. You know, this is the kind of character we're dealing with. Like, he's really standing by. He said, I have to finish. And they're going to kill him anyway. So, you know, you can't help this guy now, this little boy. Now he says, no, I'm going to do it. Keeps doing it. He tells them to leave the ambulance so that he can get out of there. And he said they won't shoot the ambulance up. And just as he's about to, they all leave. These forces come in, and that's the end of chapter 1. And then cut to, this is about a year later, Mags is attending a scholarship dinner. Her mother was also a renowned surgeon, and she started this foundation, and she was very well known. She was a well-respected surgeon, and people in that university just revered her. So Mags is there, but what you don't know about Mags just yet is that she's got a malpractice lawsuit against her. She's lost her license, so she cannot practice. And she is there at this foundation, and all the students that she went to school with are there as well. And they kind of don't want to see her, actually. But at this event, she meets this guy who was her mentor while she was studying, and was also in love with her mother at one stage back when they were young. And he says to her, look, I've got something for you. You'll need to come up to New York first because I've got this client, and he's a really wealthy reconstructive surgeon. He's got like a whole business attached to his name. It's a whole big thing. So he knows powerful people. She calls Mark up and she says, listen, this is what the story is. He says, look, just go. You know you're going to go anyway. She goes up to New York a week later. His father picks her up, drops her off at this guy's house, and she sits down, and in walks the biggest human being she's ever seen. This huge Russian guy comes in. He actually has to sort of dip his head into the doorway, and they start talking. And he says, I have a mission for you. We can't get a normal doctor, a normal surgeon, because that'll require a certain amount of red tape, which we can't afford to go through right now. You've lost your license, so you can't practice. But we can give you this work. In return, we'll give you $10 million. 5 million now, 5 million when the job's done. You have to fly to Moscow, to this very elite town where all these Russian oligarchs live. And they never leave there really, but they just sort of stay there. And you got to perform reconstructive surgery on 2 people. And you've got to stay for 2 weeks after just to make sure everything's okay. And then at first she was like, I don't know. And eventually she goes, okay, I fly first class. You put me up this, I need candy at the side of my bed. No, I'm joking. So she has all these demands. She takes on the project and she does the operations. And then during the recovery period, the patient disappears completely. So now she's in the middle of this international political plot and she's trying to piece it all together. And she's been in high stress situations before, like I said, but this is something she has not gone through. So I think the lines on the cover also represent the sort of surgeon cutting, which I thought was a really cool touch on the cover. It's a great collaboration, and there'll probably be a movie just behind this. So I really enjoyed it. Arundhati Roy almost got me, but yeah, this was fantastic. Good one.
Enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Last one, folks, promise. But what a way to end. You know, you don't get a lot of books that truly revolutionize publishing. Viz and I always have a bet for the last 6 months of the year. He tends to go for, you know, what book is going to be the biggest book for us for the last 6 months. Viz, I think your pick is pretty much Dan Brown. You said it. For me, I like an outlier, and I like this for the biggest book that PRH might do. It'll be close. Dan Brown's going to be huge. But just remember how this revolutionized publishing. Before this book came around, gifty, psychology, self-development, kind of inspirational books sold 100 copies and you were happy. This book came along. We've sold 61,000 copies of the first edition of this book. The first edition, not the others. So that is just numbers. Bigger than 12 Rules for Life, bigger than Sapiens, bigger than Jamie's 5 Ingredients, bigger than Spare, bigger than Truth to Power, bigger than Diary of a CEO, and bigger than the Let Them Theory. We don't brag enough, do we? I mean, as big. I mean, how do people not know that? Like, the first edition is that big. The thing is, I can talk about numbers all day. When this book came out in November 2019, it struck a chord with everyone, and it was big before the thing that happened in 2020. But when the thing happened, that was 2020, people were suddenly stuck by themselves, and they were, I think, alone. A lot of us, for the first time, completely by ourselves. And I think this book struck a chord then. It helped a lot of people, I think, get through that time. And this is what this guy is so fantastic about. And whoever's running the presentation, we do have some spreads, I think. Do we? Thank you so much. I think Dee's running the presentation. So there's a few spreads here, and this is the thing. Like, I can pitch this book all I want, but if you look at these spreads, this is where the game is. This is a new, completely, utterly new story called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, and the Storm, where our 4 main characters, our 4 beloved characters, are navigating their way through a storm. And what better time to bring out a book like this? I mean, the world does feel truly, truly, truly stormy at the moment. It always does. This is from his the introduction. This isn't. We think this is what the introduction will be like. And if you don't know what Charlie Mackesy is about, this kind of identifies exactly what he's about. Isn't he just the loveliest human being in the world? Someone said on pre-order, they said, this is the hug that everyone needs this year. But to end with, I think the biggest compliment you can give a book is to say it makes the world a better place. And not a lot of books make the world a better, well, this book truly will make the world a better place. That's the highest praise I can give a book. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us.